Hi Vidya. Hi
Hi.
Emraan. Welcome to our show.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Vidya, you were saying that you're really happy this time you're not playing protagonist. I mean, you've really been leading the show in your previous films. How do you feel this time?
No, I'm happy doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm also happy doing this.
Yeah.
Because, as an actor, I don't want to set any limitations on myself that I will only play the central protagonist or I'll only play a certain kind of role or do a certain kind of film. I'm a greedy actor and I want to try everything. And this was a fabulous role and it's a fabulous script, great team. So I had every reason to say yes and do it.
But at the same time, the two of you had great box office success. But, to where do you draw the line? Don't you somewhere really get bogged down by the numbers?
No, we're only hoping it'll get bigger and better this time. We're very optimistic, I think. And more importantly, I can speak for myself and say that, I don't understand numbers at all. I just know that, acha, itna hua hai, so I'm happy. But beyond that, I don't understand the breakup, or I don't know if they tell me this territory is doing.
Weekend collections.
I don't bother about all that. I really don't understand numbers.
But this is like a game changer for the two of you, right? Because, with the You for One, you've not done a comedy like that. And Emraan, even for you.
No, I haven't. And for the longest time, over the course of 10 years, I've got a lot of scripts. But somewhere, every comedy script that I got just wanted to conform to something that was already there. It was films that were playing it safe. They were comedies in traditional Bollywood lingo of being episodic comedies, where you don't have kahani mein koi sar pair nahi hai,
Correct,
but it's just sequences of comedy and it's loud theatrical comedy. But I think when Raj came with this script, here was, these two people, Raj and Parvez, written the script, and it was something that had well etched out characters. It had a clear script and such a nice story from point A to point Z.
But talking about playing it safe, the two of you have never really played it safe. With the other kind of roles you have done. Imran, there was a time when, you yourself said that people didn't think you're a saleable actor. You'll have broken ground, you'll have not conformed. Is that what makes your pair so unique?
I think we've been talking about this, and it's probably the fact that we're both unconventional in a certain sense.
Right, yeah.
May not be by design
Right.
or choice, but that's the way it is. And I think both of us have embraced it. I went through a period about 5 years ago when I didn't know which way I was headed, but I knew that I needed to start doing work that really excited me and not necessarily that conform to any sort of norm.
And also that helped you make your niche, Vidya, right?
Yeah, so that's when I discovered my niche. Because I think I was sticking out like a sore thumb when I was trying desperately to conform.
Right.
But I just embraced myself, and then things began to look better and better and better. And I think it's always nice. All of us have a certain individuality. If you're able to tap into that, and people always receive that well.
Imran, what about you? You've been a risk taker always.
Yeah, I mean, I started off with absurd career decisions of starting out the company.
When you say absurd?
I'll tell you why, because I never really thought of it as... I didn't know how the industry functions, so my ignorance for things actually made certain career decisions very early on. I did a supporting character in my first film when when the producer and director said, you can play the main lead. I said, I don't like the main lead. I don't see any spark there. I like this other guy. I like
Would you
this
even
other
do that,
guy
Vidya?
because he instills something in the script that I don't see the main lead do.
Wow.
And then everyone is like, why are you doing this? You're getting the main lead. And I did it. And I think after that, probably post that, the films and the noir cinema I didn't fit into the traditional Bollywood mold. I was discounted, never counted as one in the race, as a contender. But then slowly, that weakness started becoming a strength because, like she said, there's a certain individuality that comes in your scripts and in your films, and people start relating that to you, and that you're the only person who can do it then.
But both of you have faced brickbats. How did you deal with that phase, Vidya? When you started out, you were trying to fit into a certain mold, and people even spoke about, how you look so Indian, so you can only do a particular kind of roles.
Yeah, I think at that point, of course, I didn't know what I was being criticized for. The only saving grace was that, people were still appreciating me as an actor.
Right.
And that's really what I held on to.
Yeah.
And I said everything else can, be corrected with some of the decisions I took. I was actually hoping they'd get corrected.
Yeah.
And I also said, if I am so Indian, I should be proud about it. I am Indian and I am an Indian actress in Indian movies, so why not?
One thing was always, he was called the serial kisser. You took a longest time to break away from that and say, look, this is what else I can do.
No, but I never did.
want to interrupt. I'm not sure he wants to break that.
And yeah,
Let him say that.
no option right now. I think that's going to continue. But I think I just insulate myself from things, and I'm very good at doing that. I never paid heed or attention to what people said about me because I knew that I had my strengths, and there's a public perception of the work you're doing that somewhere you need to be always disconnected from, because then you always start serving the particular needs that are not yours. So if it was the image or changing it or trying to do something different, it was never for other people. It was only because I was getting tired of things. It was only because I was getting tired of doing the same things again that I did a film like Shanghai. That I tried to change, but not changing perception that way because I just inherently as an actor didn't want to do it.
In this film you play this like very loud, over the top housewife who thinks she's the best. So how close is that to the wife that Vidya is right now?
As Neetu in Ghanchakkar, I relate with her in terms of her being vivacious and vibrant, and I'm choosing all the nice things to say.
I think there's a all married women sometimes in a shades, right? Where you want to beat up your husband sometimes. You might act on it, but there's Neetu in all of you.
I'll tell you that he's driving the conversation back to a point where he's going to tell you that what can a man do but turn a deaf ear to everything that his wife says.
No.
How much of that do you face in real life? Come on, tell us about it.
Giving a deaf ear to my wife?
Yeah, no chance.
No. I'll tell you what happens. Sometimes when you have to diffuse a conflict situation at home, and obviously someone's lying when they say that there aren't problems after marriage, right? That when you're living under one roof, sometimes you, obviously not sometimes, always sometimes, you don't always look eye to eye on things, on certain things, and things erupt. And then that's the time when one of you has to take the initiative to kind of either diffuse it by giving it a deaf ear or match the same pitch, and then that fight might go and lead to something else that's uglier.
That's tough with a woman matching the same pitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's that saying that, there's this one time I won an argument with my wife. It was a great dream. so you can't win an argument with your wife, and then sometimes I just
But tell me, sorry, I'm getting a bit personal, but I find it frustrating when the other does not react to me.
I know,
You know what's more irritating for my wife? What's irritating is I start smiling.
I would kill you!
Yeah, exactly. I start smiling in a fight. I
men
start
have this
laughing.
thing of just going quiet on you.
Yeah.
So that makes you more angry, like you say something,
When the person doesn't react,
because
I'm
women like to
don't
react.
I exist?
No, I don't think men can probably match the level and intensity of the emotion that
Of the
women
fight,
have.
you mean?
The women have.
Have you always got an honest response from Siddharth?
No, because I keep telling him, but my hair is not looking right. Why can't you tell me?
Yeah.
Why can't you be honest?
But the moment he says it, don't you get
what does he
offended?
say?
No, but he says no, but I think you're looking...
Yeah, see, that's the right answer. Guys know it. We have developed that. We've evolved as creatures.
That one.
Yeah.
We've evolved as creatures.
I only trust the mirror.
Never ask men.
This is the
how they
gyan and the wisdom passed down from our forefathers. When your wife asks you, never say, just say that, baby, you're looking sweet and nice. Never say anything else. Just that's the answer.
What a trick.
Yeah, not a trick, it's just wisdom.
It's like when you ask a guy, so isn't she hot?
Yeah, that's another one.
my God.
That's another one, yeah.
So you say, isn't she
No,
hot?
no,
No. You don't think she's hot?
You wanna dig in,
Yeah.
and then the moment you
No,
say it,
she's
she
fine.
catches you.
I'm like, but I find her damn hot. I even do that with, my guy friends.
Yeah.
And some of them are very, like with friends you
Yeah.
can, but some of them are cagey even with their friends. So we turn around and say, oh, that's the kind of girl you
You
like.
suddenly know the choice of women, right? Yeah.
No, I don't think men have a choice. They just like women.
Okay, Vidya, tell me, how is, what is Shaadi ke side effects like? How has life been after marriage?
Oh, I was going to talk about the film.
Yeah, actually, the film too. We're going to come to that.
Shaadi ke side effects, it's great.
Are you talking about the film now, or are you talking about your marriage?
About
The reality.
Shaadi, Shaadi. Not much has changed really. So it's all great, yeah. Except that we're living together, so you know, you think you'll get that much more time together, but it's the reverse that happens, I think,
Yeah.
because you take it for granted that you're living together.
Yeah.
But it's great fun.
Yeah.
You're discovering things about each other, and I have to tell the cook what to cook every
A
single
lot of pressure
day.
on that.
That is, I didn't think it could be that difficult. That much more respect for my mom, for the food that was on the table,
Yeah.
you know, because it's incredible when she calls me up and says, Didi, aaj kya banana hai? I'm like,
Not again.
yeah, really? Abhi kya bolu? Kal to boli thi. Basic things begin to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, did you ever fear for in one moment that your career would change after marriage?
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
I mean, actresses do face that pressure. I mean, as much as they
No,
don't.
not
There is a kind of
anymore, I
pressure,
think.
no?
And it's really the way you look at it. I only think that it'll get better from here.
Yeah.
With the kind of roles that are being written for women, I think there'll be different roles for me at different ages and stages of my life. So I'm not looking to play one type of woman, and I think that's where the problem really emerges.
Right.
But also now with the number of extramarital affairs, I don't think people have a problem desiring the actress on screen once she's married. You know, previously it used to be like, अच्छा अब शादी होगी अब तो उसकी तरफ देख नहीं सकते हैं आप.
Yeah. Correct. The way you desire a woman, I think earlier it was very different. She's married, so you can't look at her that
Yeah,
way.
but now they look at you all the more.
What do you think, Imran? Are married women more desirable?
I think it's both ways. I think it doesn't really matter if you're single, if you're married, if you're sexy, you're sexy. I think if you're desirable, it doesn't. Yeah, probably to a certain extent. Like she said, I don't know. I think eventually, like thanks to my films also that have kind of pitched the concept of infidelity. I think it's on the rise now in our country, thanks to my films.
Let's blame Imran for that.
So yeah, blame me for that, for corrupting the system. I guess it's equal.
Imran, we believe you're working with the Bhatts after a long time again. Do you talk to Bhatts about your movies? Because he was recently saying that I give Imran advice, but he does his own thing. He doesn't really listen to me.
Yeah, you know, Bhatt Saab is very, he's my guru. He's just not about films. He's someone that kind of has, his worldview on a lot of things. And somewhere I connect with that. But I just feel that, and he also knows this, if I take every decision talking to him about it, then I get too dependent on that. And that's not a very good thing. I think eventually you have to be independent. You have to take your own decisions.
Imran, in this film, we believe you lose your memory, right? So if you were to lose your memory, which is the one film you like to forget about, which you've done?
Oh God, this is... I wouldn't really tell you the name of the film because it'll be very unfair to the makers. But apparently it was supposed to be a comedy, but it went entirely wrong.
Okay.
It just became, it's just one of those films where I don't really blame any one particular person, and I truly believe that, जैसे कहते हैं कि हर film की एक कुंडली होती है. Everyone goes out there to make a successful film, but sometimes either the stars aren't aligned the right way, and as much effort you put into that, it just doesn't. Things don't fall into place. And that film, everything just went crumbling from day one, and eventually it was one of those films that you start squirming when you're watching it in a preview theater. And I think I was watching it like this. By the time the film ended, I was lying on the seat. I wanted to crawl out and get out from the fire exit, and I think I did.
Yeah.
So I'm not naming it, but yeah, that's a film that I'd like to forget. Yeah.
We'll find out. Vidya, what about you? One film you like to forget about?
Not the film per se, but me in the film, and that's Hey Baby. I think I'd like to. I don't want any reminders of the fact that I was the way I was in that film.
Okay. Which is the one most embarrassing moment as a movie star you'd like to forget?
As a movie star,
Something that happened to you after you became an actor, a star.
I was very early on. I think I signed an autograph, one of the first few autographs, and the person who asked me for the autograph thought I was someone else, and I was in front of a couple of people.
What did I do?
Said, but I won't take the actor's name.
Okay.
But they thought I was someone else. So yeah, that was embarrassing.
Vidya,
You know, a similar thing happened to me when I was doing Hum Panch way back, and someone came to me and took my autograph and said, "Acha, aap kaun hai? Aapka naam kya hai?" After taking the autograph, and I felt like,
forget the last time. Just the one criticism you'd like to forget.
Just one of the film, they said your hairstyle was atrocious in that film. Yeah.
That's all?
Yeah, that's it. That's about it.
Vidya.
One criticism I'd like to forget, one portal had written after Kismat Connection, I think, that she shouldn't, if this is the way she dresses up, she shouldn't dare step out of her house.
How mean. It was superb talking to you guys. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
so much.
Madhurita.
Thank you.